Hey, it's Mitch Native Survival. Today we're going to be modifying a couple knots to make them quick release, and we're also going to be going over the 2 knots that I use for my hammock. Stay tuned. Alright, well, this is actually just something I do to get my ruck off the ground while I'm setting up camp. Just make a square knot, left over right, right over left. I'm sure you always see carabiner in front of my kit. And all I do is hang my ruck. Just clip it onto my handle. Hang my ruck on the tree. I'll show you what I mean. Alright. So now it's just hanging from that tree. And it's also at the perfect height for me to go through my pockets and do what I gotta do. Alright. So, what I'm going to do is set up my ridge line at chest level and then slide it up to the height I want. So I'm going to tie it where it's convenient and slide it up later. That way I'm not trying to tie something way above my head where I, can't, obviously you can barely reach it. So basically, I'm going to use the same 2 knots that I used in my 3-key knots vid, which is this first one's going to be 2 half hitches. This is my anchor point. It's going to go right up against the tree, pull taut, and I'll be good to go. Now, you might remember it's over under. Okay, so like I was saying, it's over under. So I'm going to go from the left side. I'm going to cross at a 90 degree, just like I mentioned in the 3-key knots vid. I'm going over. So I just went right over it at a 90 degree angle on the inside, over. Now I'm going to go under it at a 90 degree angle. I'm going to go right inside that loop. Now, here's where it changes. The standard 2 half hitches, you just go through, you pull your tag in right through. There's your knot. You put it where you want it, pull tight. However, this time, on our under, so we've just gone over, now we're going to go under. Instead of pulling the whole tag end through, let me get that in frame, my tag end, instead of pulling that and putting it all the way through, I'm going to put a bite or a loop through it. Just like this. So instead of the end's down here, I just haven't pushed the end in, I just put a loop through it. I'm going to tighten it up just like I did before. So now this is what I got. Okay, so it's now a quick release. I'll show you guys that one more time. So I've gone over, now I'm going to go under. So normally I would put my tag end right through this loop, but instead of my tag end, I'm going to put a bite or a loop through it. Okay? Tighten it down. That's what I got. So now I can put it where I want it. No hold. But when I'm ready to break down camp, if I have to do it in a hurry or if I just want to save calories and time, I just pull on my tag end with this loop going through it, and now it's a quick release knot. Okay, so here's my bundle that I'm holding. and my ridge line is coming from the other tree. So I can go from the left side or the right side. It's all the same. I'll go from the right side so my tag is on the left, just like last time. Do all these lefty, doesn't matter. Okay, so now instead of over under, this one's going to be a taut line hitch, which is under under over. Both unders are on the inside and the over is on the outside. Very simple stuff. Okay, so same deal as before. Make sure I can get this in frame. Let me just adjust this for you guys, sorry about that. Okay, so just like before, I'm going to cross the rope at a 90. I'm going to go under, under, over. So we have under, to put my whole hank through that. Press my tag end. Okay, so it's under. Now I'm going to do it again. Okay, so it's under, under. Now I'm going to do over on this side. So not on, it like makes a V. It's not on the inside. It's on the outside. Just like I mentioned in the three key knots vid, it's the exact same knot. So now I'm going to go over. But here's where it changes, just like last time. Instead of me making this loop and then putting my tag end through here, I'm going to just put a bite through there, or a loop. Okay, this is how it goes. So I'm going to just hold that there. I've already made a little bite. I'm going to just pull it right through. Okay, just get the bundle on the other side. Alright. So this is what we got. So it's a taut line hitch. Looks identical to the taut line hitch I did in the other video, except I just put a bite through that last hitch, just like the last 2.5 hitches knot. Just put a bite through it. And now this allows me, when I'm ready to break down camp, now, oh, also this is the adjustable side, so I can now move this up. I can now move this up my ridge line and tighten it if I want. See how it's tighter now? So I'll bring it back in frame for you. So now when I'm ready to break down camp, all I got to do is just pull this tight, and now this whole thing will come down. So here we go. See how I completely took all the tension off? So now I'm off the tree. So now I'm sitting here fiddling and trying to get things just right. All I do is break free, that quick release, and then just pull the rope off the tree. Good to go. Alright, so what I do when my ridge line is going over my tarp, or rather under my tarp, I just put a little knot in the grommet, and I put 2 half hitches, and onto my ridge line I put a taut line hitch. That way I can adjust it and move my tarp on my ridge line however I want. Just trying to keep this in frame for you guys. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you how that works. So I literally just go underneath and over on my ridge line instead of around my tree like usual. Under, and over. And again, I make this a quick release. So I pull a bite through it. See if I can show you guys that. The camera keeps focusing on the background instead of the foreground. There we go. Now this way I can move my tarp around on my ridge line. Okay, so one of my guy lines going off in the corner of my tarp isn't long enough. That's this line from my tarp. So what I'm going to do is just take this little piece of scrap line that I found, just the outside sheath of some paracord. I'm going to make a bite or a loop, okay? I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to go around it. I come back around. I'm going to go over my scrap line and under my line for my tarp, which is what I've been using this whole time. So I go under the loop, around, and I go underneath the line, so it's over and under. So it's, you start from underneath, okay? So you go up, around, over, under. This is how it works. I'll do it all over again. We have the loop. I go up from underneath, and I go around, and I go over. See, I'm crossing over that line, but under this line. This is what it creates. Pull it nice and tight, and now my line is that much longer. Okay? It's called a sheep bend. Alright, so I have two of my guy lines started. They're not tight yet. I always like to keep it loose until the final adjustment, where all four are all set up at the same time. So now, basically, you can see the reason why I put up those two taut line hitches on my ridge line from the middle of my tarp, because that stops my tarp from sliding off as I tighten this. Because you'll find that if you don't do that, when you set up your guy lines going up the trees to do your corners, you'll end up pulling it off center. Now you might want to do that on purpose if you're setting up a certain situation with your tarp to do that, but I want it to be all balanced right now. So that's why I like to do that first, because it keeps the ridge line still in the middle of the tarp. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the other two. Okay, so here's my last guy out. Now I'm basically going in this direction, and as you might notice, there's no trees to tie to. So what I did is I made a quick tripod, okay, and I put a stake right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my guy line right over my tripod, change directions to my stake. So instead of using a tree, I'm going to tie off to the ground and still get my height as if I was at a tree from my tripod. Now I'm going to go around all my guy lines, all my corners, tighten them up, get my angles just how I want it. Might have to tune up my height so I can shed the water to the direction I want and get everything just right. Okay, so there's my tarp. Both sides at the end are highest. And on this side, both tilting down. Now here's another cool trick to change your angle. Here's my guy line going to that tree over there. Now this is actually, right here, this is actually the path that leads to the rest of the camp, right? So if I put this guy line all the way to where it was, so it won't get people in the head walking by, it won't block the path, then the side is too high. Alright, so that's going to create a spot where my water is going to have like a valley in the middle. It's going to drip right here, which is where my fire pit is. Okay, so to control water flow, you can change the angle of your tarp very specifically, and that's exactly what I did today. This is how I did it. I used this little sapling right here next to my camp. So here's my guy line. It wants to go this way, but I want to angle it down, and I can't have this keep going down because then it'll end up in the path as well with a stake. So I could have set up a tripod again right here and gone straight down, and that'll probably be my permanent solution to this problem. But I just want to show you another cool trick to changing the angle on your tarp. So I was able to get this side down by dropping my guy line down. I just put 2 half hitches right here on my guy line and angled it down as if it was staked to that sapling. And right here I have a quick release taut line hitch, so I can change the tension of this, which changes how far down this goes, which changes my pitch. Alright, there's a lot of tricks you can do with ropes. Just got to know a couple knots and just be creative. Alright, so here's my hammock. Well, actually a hammock I'm borrowing from a friend of mine, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this on the trees, and I'll show you the 2 knots that I use for that. Okay, so the first one I'm going to use is going to be my dead stop for my hammock, and this is called the Event Slippery Hitch or Siberian Hitch. So I'm going to come from the left, so my tag is on the right. Basically I'm going to put my hand like this and wrap, pulling tension here and here. Okay, I'm going to just grab the tension so I can let go of my thumb. I'm going to swing my hand underneath and go straight up. Now this loop that I'm holding right here with my hands, I'm going to pull my tag through. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Holding my thumb there, holding tension here, make an underhand loop on my hand. Okay, and go under my rope. Now I'm going to grab my tag, which is this one right here, just pull it right through. I'm just creating a quick release that goes around the rope. Alright, so I'm going to just tighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to make this a little smaller, this quick release, and just put another quick release bite right through it. So I'm just going to take a bite and put it right through that one. Okay, a little off camera, sorry about that, move back up. So now that bite is through that bite. It's that simple. Now this will hold my weight. I can put it against the tree, hold my weight, and it's still, when I'm ready to break down camp, it's still a quick release knot. Completely undoes. So let's do it one more time. Okay, so my tag is in my right hand. I'm going to make a loop. I'm pinching, I'm holding tight. I'm going to hold my rope, go underneath, pull my tag through. It's this one right here. Okay. Now from there, I'm going to just put another quick release loop through that one. Just like that. Make that a tiny bit smaller. This knot's good to go. Okay, so I can put it against my tree at the height I want. And it will hold my weight. Okay, so now I figured out that this is about where I want my hammock to end. So I have all this slack going to my tree. Okay, so it's right about to the edge of my tarp, which is right above. So basically what I've done is I've bypassed the S-hook and I've just attached a bowline to, you can do an overhand loop here, whatever you want to do, to the rope here. Okay? So now what that allows me to do is pass my loop, pass my rope through the loop. So I went inside, okay? So it's going outside here. I'm going to go inside to shorten it. Okay? So now basically all I'm going to do from here is just put 2 quick release knots back to back, which are just a bite inside a bite, you know? And I'm good to go. So we'll figure it's about, we'll say here. It's about where I want it. Okay, so I'm going to pinch it off right there. Now I'm going to, let me zoom in for you. So I pinched it off. I'm going to put my thumb underneath, okay, and go over my line, my ridge line. I'm going to take the other end of it, so this is all one piece, and bring it around and inside where my thumb is. So I'm basically putting a bite around it and underneath itself. Okay, let me do that again. Underneath, lift it up, put my thumb on the ridge, take the rest of it and bring a bite inside. Pull it tight. Okay, now I'm going to just do it again. Make this a little shorter and put another one, put another bite, another quick release bite through that one. Okay, nice and tight. Alright, so this is what I have. This is my quick release. If I pull on this, the whole thing comes undone. See that? So I'm ready to break camp. But it will hold my weight. So I'll just set it up one more time. Pinch. Shorten it. Put another one through. Okay. So now this is going to hold my weight. And it's quick release. So this is how I set up my hammock. You use those 2 knots, a Siberian hitch on the tree, and I use this double quick release on my actual hammock. Alright, well, it's been Mitch Native Survival. I appreciate your reviews, your comments, and your support. I just want to show you guys a few quick, easy modifications you can do to make knots quick release, and also the 2 knots that I use on my hammock. See you guys in the next video. Take care.